We've learned a lot about COVID-19 in this last year, from best practices to avoid the virus to the remarkable development of vaccines. And if you've lost track of some of the specifics, it has indeed been 1 year to the week when the CDC confirmed that we had the first positive COVID case in the United States. ABC4's Nick McGurk live in downtown Salt Lake City, speaking to the experts and COVID survivors to reflect back and look forward at this point. Nick.
Hi, Emily. We know this. Lessons have been learned, lives have been lost. There's so much that has happened. A lot of it you can measure. Some things, stress and anxiety, concerns, some of that you just can't measure. But we want to go back in time now. You might have forgotten, back in January, there was the Diamond Princess cruise ship. It was docked off of Japan, and we know that there were a couple of Utahns on board. They were quarantined. It made national headlines. That was sort of the beginning, and we spoke with Mark Jorgensen today. He's the first Utahn to have tested positive for COVID-19, and he was on that cruise ship. His wife would contract COVID as well. And then there was March, when Rudy Gobert tested positive. The world seemed to really just shift under our feet. The NBA canceled their season. Schools began to close. This was a real difficult time. But the health department, during this entire time, they were tracking cases. They were seeing names and ages, and then they began to document deaths. So I asked the health department about this, how perhaps now, a year later, some folks are becoming numb. Some have professed skepticism that a COVID death actually comes from the virus as opposed to those underlying health conditions that we hear so much about.
These are individuals who, had they not been infected with COVID-19, they would not have passed away when they did. That's just the simple fact of the matter. When we classify COVID-19 deaths, that's essentially the standard that we look at. Yes, a lot of these individuals had other underlying medical conditions, but had these individuals not had COVID-19, they would not have passed away on the day that they did.
Utah's had 1,550 fellow citizens who have died from COVID-19, about 1,550. I asked the health department today, when can everybody get a vaccine, regardless of frontline worker or your risk? And they said probably May, June, July. It's a moving target, but hopefully that's when everybody can get a vaccine. We can also tell you this, to give you a sense of how much has changed. Mark Jorgensen, the man on that cruise ship, when he finally was okay to come home, he thought he was going to be an isolated case. His family and friends had planned a welcome ceremony at the airport. He certainly could not have known, nor could any of us, what this year would bring. Live in Salt Lake, I'm Nick McGurk, ABC4 News.